But just as I was preparing to cross the finish line, my marriage ended abruptly. I won't go into all the details yet, but I'll tell you this. My world turned upside down overnight. My life as I knew it just stopped. I had no umbrella, no jacket, no shelter. As my daddy would say, I was tossed to and fro, thrown clear off my square. Welcome to Tend to It, a space where we remember that mental health, like a garden, needs tending. I'm Aiysha, and in this first episode, we're opening the garden gate and stepping into a space of reflection, healing, and growth. We're exploring the connections between gardening and mental health, how preparing the soil, planting seeds, and tending to what we've grown are all metaphors for how we nurture our minds, our bodies, and our lives. In today's episode, we'll talk about the vision of Tend to It and how this podcast came to be. I'll also share a little of my own story about the seasons I've weathered, the storms that knocked me off course, and the importance of tending to our own growth, even when the seasons feel out of our control. By the end of this episode, you'll know what to expect from this journey together and how each week we'll continue tending to our own inner gardens. So let's start right here. This is Tend to It. Let's dig in. Welcome, loves. Let's take a breath together. Inhale and exhale. Wherever you're listening from, I invite you to arrive as you are. I'm Aiysha, a licensed therapist and storyteller, and this is Tend to It. This is a space to feel seen, heard, and validated. A space for reflection, truth, and community. And most importantly, a space where we remember that our mental health, like a garden, needs tending. Every other week, we'll come together for grounding, story, and conversation. Sometimes just you and me, sometimes with guests. All with tools you can carry into your own life. New episodes will drop every other Tuesday. The vision of Tend to It is simple but powerful. To create a space where you can reconnect with yourself and others. I started noticing something in my therapy session. Some of my clients were talking about gardening, about planting seeds, watching them grow, struggling with weeds, learning patience. And my therapist's spidey senses went crazy. I'm like, there's a connection between gardening and mental health that was just uncanny to me. So for example, thinking about preparing the soil is like building your support system. Soil serves as an anchor for the plant roots and also provides the plants with the needed nutrients to survive. Planting seeds is like trusting the process. What are you doing as you're waiting for signs of growth? Are you worrying, complaining? Are you tending to another area that may benefit from your attention in the meantime? And weeds. Well, weeds are those intrusive thoughts, toxic people, or distractions that, if left unchecked, can take over. What I realized is that gardening gave people concrete language for what often felt complicated and hard to name. And I thought, maybe this can be a way we talk about healing together. This season, we'll use the garden as our metaphor for healing and growth. In future seasons, we may tend to other spaces of life. The soil changes, but the tending stays the same. I want to start by sharing a part of my own story. There have been seasons in my life when I walked away from the very seeds I had planted. And then there were storms, some of my own making and others I never saw coming. One season in particular stands out. It was my last semester of graduate school when I was working towards my master's in counseling. On paper, I was almost there. 3 years of papers, late nights, group projects, and visions of the life I'd build once I graduated. But just as I was preparing to cross the finish line, my marriage ended abruptly. I won't go into all the details yet, but I'll tell you this. My world turned upside down overnight. My life as I knew it just stopped. I had plans of opening a private clinical practice, but instead of planning for my future, I was just trying to make it through the day. Survival looked like managing to shower, get my 3 children who were at that time 15, 10, and 8, dressed, fed, and off to school. That was all I could manage. The seeds I had carefully planted for 3 years, I couldn't even look at them. I was just trying not to drown. I didn't graduate with my cohort. At the time, I didn't even care. I couldn't. My whole body, my whole spirit was in survival mode. Some days it was literally just put one foot in front of the other. But here's the thing about seeds. They don't leave. They wait. After about a year with support, prayer, counseling, meditation, and a lot of self-care practices, which we'll talk about throughout this podcast, I finally had space to come back to the soil, to those gifts, to that calling. And when I did, the seed welcomed me back like it had been waiting for me the whole time. 18 months after my marriage ended, I walked across the stage and graduated. My family, my friends, my peers, they were all there. And yes, I wanted to feel guilty. I wanted to feel like I'd missed my turn, like everyone else had surpassed me. But slowly, as I challenged those stories, I was telling myself, I realized the truth. I wasn't behind. I was right where I was supposed to be. I didn't see that storm coming. I had no umbrella, no jacket, no shelter. As my daddy would say, I was tossed to and fro, thrown clear off my square. But storms like that taught me something. They will come, and yes, but they also pass. And more importantly, they've taught me the importance of tending, of coming back to the soil, of trusting that something can grow even after a hard season. That's what this space is about. Not perfection, not constant bloom, just honest tending. Maybe you have been through some hurricane seasons. What did they teach you? So today, as we open the garden gate together, I want to invite you to consider, what's the soil for your life right now? Is it rich and ready? Is it dry and in need of care? Wherever it is, that's okay. We'll tend to it together. And I promise throughout the season, you'll hear stories, reflections, and tools that remind you you are not alone in your process. Imagine your inner garden, what's thriving there, what's struggling to sprout. Take some time to name 2 to 3 practical soil practices, focusing on sleep perhaps, joyful movement, spending times with folks that are safe, journaling, meditation. Jot some of those things down. This season, we'll be exploring what it means to prepare the soil, plant seeds, weather storms, and prune what no longer serves us. You'll hear from healers, therapists, and everyday folk who are learning what it means to tend to their own growth. In the next episode, I'll be joined by Sharice Brower for a powerful conversation on why slow is sacred, how reclaiming rest and honoring our own pace can be one of the most radical things we do. Each episode, I'll leave you with something simple to tend to. I call it Tend to It. This week, I want you to create your own care corner. It can be a chair by the window, a small altar, a journal, a cute journal. You know we like our journals, especially with a nice pen. Or even a playlist. Let it be a place where you feel safe, seen, and still. That's your soil. Return to it when you need reminding that you are worth the care you give. If this first step into the garden spoke to you, I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast. Leave a review and share it with someone who might need this space too. You can also follow along at tendtoit_pod on IG and join our Tend to It garden at bit.ly/join Tend to It for extra reflections and practices each week. Thank you for stepping into the garden with me today. This is just the beginning, and I'm so grateful you're here. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale and exhale. So be it. Tend to it. This podcast reflects my personal reflections and professional insights as a licensed therapist, but it is not a substitute for therapy. The conversations and practices shared here are for educational and inspirational purposes only. If you are seeking mental health support, I encourage you to connect with a licensed therapist in your area who can provide individualized care. Tend to It is a production of Black Unicorn Productions. This episode was executive produced by Tanisha Williams. Special thanks to you, our community, for showing up and tending to it with us. Until next time, remember, the soil is rich, the seasons will change, and your growth is worth the care that you give. So be it, tend to it.